Just because you put Jesus in a song doesn't mean you're living like him. Let's talk about Christian cosplay in music and just in people in general.
Crazy. Yo,
I love that.
nah,
with these upgrades, upgrades are dope.
It's not an upgrade.
These upgrades are dope. We're blessed to continue to do stuff and upgrade,
Move up in the world.
and move up. You shouldn't have trusted me with any of this.
First of all, when you said upgrade, it reminded me of that movie.
Upgrade isn't. There's a movie called Upgrade.
No,
from
not that
Blumhouse.
movie.
That movie was crazy.
What?
There's a movie called Upgrade. It's like a Blumhouse. Quick synopsis: It's this guy who like gets in a car accident and his wife is like an engineer, and he loses the functionality from like his like neck down because he gets a spinal cord injury, and she develops like this AI bot that goes implanted in his neck, and it regains functionality and moves the rest of his body for him because of like he had like brain damage or something. And what ends up happening is during the course of the movie, it slowly starts to take over his body. And then eventually puts him in a sedated state where he thinks he's like real living his life, but the AI is fully taking over his body.
No, so I'm talking about
It's hard. It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
I'm talking about the creator of Beavis and Butthead. He made Idiocracy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What?
That he made Idiocracy.
Yeah.
I truthfully, I still haven't seen it.
The pimp in the movie is Upgrade. That was
Upgrade.
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 Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
not to get lost in the sauce in the third episode, but welcome to episode 3 of the podcast.
Yes,
what's
Spiritual
up,
Bros.
dude? We're 3 episodes deep now. How you feeling?
Man,
Get back to me when you hit episode 103.
I'll be like, kill me.
Take me, Lord. And anyway, welcome to the podcast. My name is Daniel. This is Dwayne.
Yep.
Both of us grew up in church. Our families are full of pastors, ministers, musicians, and leaders, and we've seen the good, the bad, and truthfully, the downright wild. We're still figuring things out, and this is what we know for sure. We love God, and we have some questions. Again, this is the Spiritual Bros podcast. Today, we want to talk about, I kind of brought up this idea when I was talking with Dwayne of, I couldn't think of a better term, so I came up with the term Christian cosplay.
Yeah.
And it really kind of summarizes what I feel about it. And it's this whole trend of like people using Christian words and Christian aesthetics like crosses, prayer hands, or like the whole God got me thing, while living in ways that are straight up opposite of Christ, like literally living the opposite in the way Jesus taught. And this applies to everybody. I've known people that are like claim the lifestyle but won't live it.
Yeah.
But I think the best example I can give are artists.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like musical artists, they'll drop the whole God's got me, or like DJ Khaled, God did. And I'm just like, bro, you're out here making booty shaking music, and you're out here making like you're just living a lifestyle that's so opposite of
First of all,
what you're claiming.
My rant about DJ Khaled is on a whole new level.
I need to
Maybe I'll give you a clip of it so we can just
like cut straight to it. It's
Bro.
like DJ Khaled.
Anyway,
It was like 20 minutes long, I think, if you ranting about DJ Khaled now.
Nah, yeah, it was probably like half an hour, but still.
Strong feelings
And
from a
then my
strong
man
man.
Doesn't need to be behind a motor vehicle because he wrecks them all. Or gets lost. Like, anyway, I'm not even going there.
That golf cart one was hilarious, dude.
The golf cart one was crazy. The scooter one was crazy. The jet ski one was wild.
I didn't see the jet ski one.
You didn't see the jet ski one?
No, I need to see it. I think it just
died. He was out in the bay. He was out in the bay and he's just Snapchatting. He's like, yo, we out here. The jet ski died. I'm out here cuz. And we're like, yo, what are you doing? Call for help. What are you doing? You're dumb. I hate you.
strong feelings.
I don't hate him. I don't hate him.
Hey, dude,
I'm going to pray for him. I'm I'm pray for him.
What is that whole thing? I don't wish him any harm, but I don't wish him any good.
That's wild. But yes, yeah,
but
absolutely,
exactly that. Anyway, not to get off track. Christian Cosplay and
Khaled, oh my god!
But he's a good example of just like, I think he had a whole album of just like God did, or like a Bless Up album, something like that.
So
like, it was just a bunch of like Christian.
Who would be the DJ Khaled of like Christian music?
Kirk Franklin.
Hands down. Thank you. I'm happy you said that.
Kirk Franklin.
I'm happy you said that
that's
because
easy, man.
he aggravates me too. And
what did you think about him getting Botox? He
first of all, I didn't even know he did that.
Bro, look at his. I think he got Botox. Kirk Franklin.
No, I didn't know he did that. I just know he got a bunch of feedback lately because he was in the show. You know,
no, see that
getting wild on the dance floor, which is. Hey man,
that's
kind
cool.
of praise God. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Why are you twerking?
That's whatever. The one
that's whatever.
Well, so the thing that I took more issue with is when they were
that he got Botox.
No, when they had that photo, they were doing a photo shoot with a bunch of Christian artists, and footage had came out where they were like I think it was like him, Israel Houghton, or like just a bunch of Christian artists. I think Zacardi Cortez was there too. I don't remember, but a bunch of people, Christian artists, and they were doing promos for a Christian tour, a Christian album. And he's like, yeah, set the tone, like, because they're doing the photo shoot. He's like, put some music on, give me some, and this is Kirk Franklin. He's like, give me some Drake, put on some Biggie, put on some for a Christian photo shoot. And you're just like,
he got a bunch of feedback because he did a song with Glorilla.
Yeah, that I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Well, the Prince of the Lord. Ooh.
Like, what you doing?
Money.
Oh, 100%.
Money.
100%.
But I don't know, because that's kind of where I'm kind of heading with this, of the whole Christian cosplay thing. Like, Kirk particularly has made the way for, he's defined an entire sound of music.
Yo, people, when Stomp came out,
yeah,
GOP,
yeah, dude, what
is it GOP?
No,
God's Property. God's Property.
I don't remember.
Anyway, that was the name.
Stomp was insane.
That was a GP, just GP.
GP.
Yeah, GP, are you with me?
Yeah.
So
GP, are you with me?
Yeah, God's Property. That's what the name of his choir was called. So Stomp came out, and as a youngster, as a youth, but my dad played all kinds of music around me, right?
Yeah.
So, and my dad played bass. So I'm listening to the bass as a youth. And I go to my dad, I'm like, are they doing Parliament? And he's like, yeah. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh, it's just
Parliament.
It's just Parliament. They just playing funk music with gospel over time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm fine.
If you continue to do that. But no, he's
so I think the what I'm trying to get at is the cosplay part of things is like, in the cosplay, if you guys don't know what cosplay is, for those of you listening that know what cosplay is when you
nerd stuff,
when you as a regular person dress up as a fictional character and you wear the costume as accurately as possible as the character is presented, and you wear
Halloween every day.
Halloween, it's like professional Halloween.
It's professional. Yo, people
cosplay.
get wild with cosplay.
I love, so like truthfully, as an anime nerd, I love cosplay. Like, cosplay is dope, but
yeah,
it's the whole thing. Like, you understand that this is a performance. You understand that that's not what this person really is. Because the whole thing is that cosplay is, you have this understanding that you as a real person are pretending to be a fictional character.
Your day to be an actor.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, that's that whole thing of, and that's where I'm getting at with the Christian cosplay thing, because it's like you
just think they're all actors.
So it feels like that. It feels like that sometimes, and but I also think too, the second half of that, and which I would like to talk about one day, because I reference DMX every now and again about his personal struggle with, because it's one thing to struggle with your faith and be public about it. It's another thing to just be straight up fake.
Yeah, because he did it musically, so to me, that was real. Like, it wasn't fake for him to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to go out of his way to
like,
do that.
Towards there was for a while there he was having like straight up daily devotions, and he would just go live on, I think it was Instagram, and he was just preaching. He was like at his home.
Probably MySpace. No.
Nah, he didn't pass that long ago.
Okay.
But he was on like IG Live, and he was like sitting there with the Bible, and he was preaching. It's like, hey man, there's hope for you out there. Yeah, you can find clips on it. It's him like straight up Bible open on the thing, preaching straight up the word, reading it straight. And he's like, hey man, this is what it is. This is what it ain't.
Never liked DMX, man.
And it's funny. It reminds me of, and I'll probably show the clip of like when Jay was talking about how he had to go on after DMX, and then Jay was like,
Jay-Z?
Yeah, Jay-Z. He was just like, it was just like one of his early shows, and he was on, DMX was up there. He was doing like turning everybody up, and then he was like crying, and he had like the Lord's Prayer, and he was like, he had basically an altar call and all this stuff, and everybody was crying heartfelt, and he turned everybody up, and then they turned to Jay-Z like, yeah, cool, you have to go on after that. Yeah. And he's like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. Like DMX, and that's the thing. Like I truly, I don't think he was. I don't think he was fake. I just think he was insanely conflicted.
Yeah, I'm not saying he was fake.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of draw that, because I don't get that realness from like people like DJ Khaled, where they'll cite God and they're like, God's got me, bless up. And
DJ Khaled is the fake of all fakes. DJ Khaled is like, you start a new job and then they're like, hey, you need to watch these videos of like inspiration. Of like how to get through work.
Here's how you put the fries down.
And you like
15 seconds
fries.
Of time.
Yeah, I gotta be excited about this. That's DJ Khaled to me.
Yeah. Very manufactured. Yeah. And so the whole thing is like Christian Cosplay is, well, I wrote it down here. Definition for me. What I understand is Christian Cosplay is that whole, like I said, that whole trend of artists using Christian words, aesthetics, crosses, and all this stuff to use it as a marketing tool for them to like, hey, I believe in these things. You know, this is good. You should buy my things or stream my things. And it to kind of go further into that, it's just like someone that wears a Christian label but doesn't live the life. And it's not just limited to music. Just some of the best examples we have are in music.
So to piggyback on your definition, I have a little something here. But so music holds a significant place in the spiritual life of believers, serving as a powerful medium for worship, teaching, expression of faith. Through the Bible, music is depicted as a vital component of religious practice, spiritual experience reflecting the heart response of God's majesty and grace. So, when you hear that, music goes both ways.
Yeah.
With worship and then the opposite. And then you have, what you say, the cosplay Christians, where they're kind of like riding a fence almost. And they just don't know that it's bad.
Or they don't know, or they don't care.
Oh, that's a good point too.
You know, and it's tough because
Beastie Boys, by the way.
Yeah, Beastie Boys.
Even though they're not about God.
No, it's a problem because it really there will be people, whether they be people who are new in Christ, or people who are trying to get to Christ. And they'll misunderstand that these people are cosplaying, and they'll cite what they're doing as real. Mm-hmm. So now you're basing your entire belief system off of fake things, and you're going to get fake results. So the whole thing is like, if you have these artists or these people of influence generally who are citing Christ and reading Bible scripture and reading all this stuff and they fake about it, it's going to do more damage than good, because now when you try to apply these fake principles and these fake practices to real life and it doesn't work, you're going to have real issues with your walk with God. Mm-hmm. It's like when you have, and it's not just artists, it's like politicians. You have politicians who are like, they're swearing on the Bible and they're making legislation for Christian morals. And you're like, oh, we're bringing morals back to the office. And then you have the flip side where they're like committing moral atrocities and they're doing like terrible things to other people, you're like, well, you know, what's real and what isn't?
So I can't wait till we do that episode about legalities in the courts of heaven.
Courts of heaven, baby.
Because
that's going to be a huge one.
No, because the courts here matter too, and they have to do it spiritually, legality wise.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's wild. It's wild, man.
Yeah,
it's wild.
It goes deep, and I know something like this, like the Christian cosplay being fake and being that whole thing. It goes a little bit further because there's a lot more implications, and I think we've mentioned it last time or we've discussed it, where there's a certain point where belief in God or faith-based practices are just part of the culture.
Yeah.
Like I reference like when we were talking about it earlier, I referenced Doechii.
Yeah.
Doechii's not a Christian artist. Doechii's been, you know, and Doechii's great artist, by the way. I love Doechii's music. Like I like her music. It's dope, but it's like in her Tiny Desk concert, she's straight up speaking tongues.
Yeah.
And the song that she's doing has nothing to do with Christ at all.
I believe it.
And so the whole thing is like, then why are you speaking it? Are you just, is that like a cultural reference or a shout out that you're just being real? And I'm like, what part of it's culture and what part of it's Christ?
Yeah.
You know? And then it's just like, that's the whole thing that I'm trying to get at. It's like this whole cosplay of like, oh, this person's doing great things and they believe in what I believe, so I should just follow them. And it's like, the problem is you're making faith into a brand. And those your success of your brand is translating to streams for monetary value, for exposure, or whatever the case is. And throwing God into lyrics or streams while promoting a lifestyle that has nothing to do with Jesus is a problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, then what's the point? Because then now you're just feeding all this like fake stuff.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah. So back to what you were saying. So I grew up in the church.
Yeah.
Growing up in the church, but then also
pretty obvious.
My sisters were older than me, and they liked music. We had the box. We played MTV, so they were listening to music all the time.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, MTV is also a big like influence in that entire era,
right?
Well, so our era, really.
I'm just saying, as a kid, for some reason, I like Kool Moe Dee. Because he wore some dope ass sunglasses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my man is cool.
Kool Moe Dee, cool as hell.
Yeah. And not knowing that's against God.
Right.
I didn't know that. I just thought he looked cool.
Yeah.
He had cool ass sunglasses. All right. You know, I was fine with that. I didn't know. But being around my family thought that was okay.
Yeah.
Yo, yeah. Kool Moe Dee, he ain't hurt nobody. Tribe Called Quest, they ain't hurt nobody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's secular music. It's not, it's not Christian music. It's not glorifying God. It's not doing any of that. So
now imagine if you have that. And then these guys are just like, they just start saying Christ and dropping Christ in the lyrics. Now they're just like, oh, you can listen to this implicitly. And now they're living totally opposite of what God's command is to do, what Jesus has taught us to do.
Right.
And then now you as a young, impressionable person are like, oh, this is just the norm. Mm-hmm. So now I can front and be something different and do whatever I want. And that's the problem. Because then you have, and the whole point of this is like bringing this up is to remind, because what I had to learn, that there was a lot of people that I looked up to or that I thought I looked up to that were living two different ways. And it's just like, maybe this is just the norm. Maybe you're just Christian for the general public and I can leave out and do whatever I want to do. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, dude, this is the whole lifestyle. Like what you do when people are watching and what you do while people aren't watching is what God's going to respect and honor and glorify and like give you. Like when you glorify God, when people aren't looking, like when you're not doing, it's the whole point is it's a lifestyle. Now, influencers are great. Influencers are cool, but it shouldn't make you want to buy, but not buy, but it's my issue is if you use it as a marketing tool and you use it as something to generate income, if you use it as one certain thing, you're going to get that support. But then be about it.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So remember Kanye West, College Dropout.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus
Walks. Yeah.
Fire song.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
In the club. It was in the club.
Mm-hmm.
It was played in the club. It was amazing.
Yeah.
We like, what? Jesus Walks.
Jesus Walks. Oh, man.
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah. Is he?
Right.
Is he though?
That's the question.
Is he though?
But I can't say that wow. Even so I Google it, College Dropout genre, hip hop, gospel, Christian hip hop.
Right.
What?
So yesterday, what is
crazy.
It? Yesterday was the Grammys, right? Yeah. I believe, right?
Yeah.
At the time of recording this, 2025 Grammys happened yesterday.
It was Grammys.
Kanye, if I remember correctly, he won Dove Awards, right? For
Kanye?
Yeah, Jesus is King. He won Dove Awards, I think.
Not this year.
Look it up. Not this year, but when he dropped Jesus is King, either he got nominated or he won Dove Awards. I don't remember. But
pull up the doc. Pull up the music doc that I shared. So that is under Good Music. That's 2019. Kanye West.
I thought he won a Dove Award.
God, no, I don't see any awards won.
Either he got nominated for Jesus is King or he won an award for Jesus is King.
Man, Miami and Sunday Service Choir. Bruh, this is crazy.
So what I'm trying to get at is that dude does not live a lifestyle that Jesus taught us how to live.
No.
Like man's pulled up yesterday and his wife was fully
that's in
naked.
the doc. That's in the doc.
Is it?
Yeah, it's in the doc.
Not her booty butt naked, but like the topic.
I mean, the photo's there. It's blurred, but the photo's there.
It's so wild, dude. It's just like.
So, but I heard they got escorted out of there too.
Yeah. I believe
would hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so. And that's what I'm talking about.
We're a bunch of files. You need to get out of here, cuz.
and that's what I'm trying to talk about, bro. But like, it's like.
I hope that don't get flagged.
No, I'll mute.
We need to mute that.
Just out here with a bunch of PDFs, dude. Where your flash drives at?
Hey man, put a shirt on your girl, bro.
Matter of fact, you need to leave.
You need to leave, bro.
And that's the whole thing. Like, this dude was like Sunday service, right?
Yeah.
They had renditions. They performed in, I forget what church it was. They did a full setup, a full performance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were like, "Yo, Kanye's saved now. Kanye loves Christ," and even in he cited in a bunch of his lyrics like, "I'm a Christian man with my Bible on the nightstand, whatever." He's had these lyrics, and it's like, you're obviously not living this lifestyle, dude.
Yeah,
and then so he got so much notoriety off of Jesus is King, working with Christian producers, reaching out to people like Kirk. I think he was on the album, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And it's like, not that Kirk is a problem. It's just like you're reaching out to like notable Christian artists that people have their music as pillars in their life to live correctly. And that's the pillars that they lean on when their faith is shaken.
Yeah.
And it's like, now you're making that mockery because you paid them enough money to be in their music.
Yeah. So what I would say is, I just thought about this, and it's probably absolutely true. So what I think Kanye is going through is just extreme spiritual warfare.
Yeah. I'll agree with that.
When you bring it down, because
there
was a thing where he went and got remarried and all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And someone asked him, that was like what happened? What's up with your faith? Blah blah blah. And he's like, well, I prayed to God to get my family back, and he didn't answer. And then he just went off the rails.
Went off the rails.
Yeah, he was like back into his porn addiction and all that stuff, and then he's trying to
like soothe the pain.
Soothe the pain. Well, he was trying to make a porn company. He was trying to make a porn company on top of that, and then
I didn't know that. Yeah,
and which is wild. And then on top of that, then he has his wife walking around just wearing nothing, right?
Yeah.
And so you're just like, all right, this dude is a sexual addict to a degree. But honestly, I just think he's just under crazy spiritual warfare.
Crazy spiritual warfare, has insane soul ties that he has to resolve. He's got just a bunch of things to work out, truthfully, if he's willing to work them out.
And it's sad to see it on the outside, but like it's easy for us to point it out. But even though if we're in that situation, we probably wouldn't see it. Yeah, no, it'd be hard as hell.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I'm just trying to get my family back, cuz.
Like, with porn?
Yeah, that's a wild thing. I'm already a billionaire.
I'm out here trying to make stable income. Like, I don't know about that.
Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Anyway, all that to say is it's talked about in the Bible to not trust everyone who says the right words, kind of thing. Matthew 7:21 through 23 goes like, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. And actions are more important than words.
So to bring back Kanye, his thing is honestly is just a lack of faith.
Yeah.
Granted, his family that he wants is probably not the best thing for him, but what he wants,
I think
what he wants really doesn't matter compared to what God wants for you, because God sees you. He sees you here, and you're like, I want this Lambo thing. I want this. I want that. He's like, no, you're a king. I see you up here, bro.
It's weird
totally different.
It's weird to quote Neil deGrasse Tyson in this, but he said one time, because he was coming at B.O.B. because B.O.B.
the stars in the universe. I don't know,
but
like
he
has I can't do it.
Science.
Not Bill Nye, but me.
Anyway, go ahead. What does Bill Nye know? He has a quote, and it sums it up. He said something to the effect of, people who have influence doing stupid things is a problem.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, Kanye has, as much as you want to argue as he fell off, he's constantly in the headlines. He's constantly...
Bro, his influence is making Yeezys look like they're good-looking shoes.
Yeah, dude. It's insane. Like, it's
trash out of here. What?
Boosts, the Yeezy Boost. I remember I wanted the Pirate Black Yeezy Boost for a while. I was like, yeah, I want a pair.
Now he's got these foam thingies.
The socks.
Get out of here.
The socks, yeah.
Bro.
I'm going to stick with my dunks, cut.
Bro.
But no, and that's the whole point. That's the whole point.
Wear dunks?
Yeah, you have dunks on now.
First of all, they are Jordan ones,
okay.
Not dunks.
Okay.
I have one pair of dunks. They're kind of cool, but Jordan ones, sir.
First of all, I got them retros on.
You are not a shoe guy.
I'm not. I don't claim to be.
Ones to dunks?
Teach me, dog.
Not anymore.
Anyway, what I was trying to say is, the problem with fake faith...
God don't wear Jordans. He wears sandals.
You got them change your life ones, dude.
Man, I need them in my life.
So the problem with fake faith and cosplaying as Christian is that it waters down what it means to follow Christ, because now you have an example of one thing and then a whole entire definition of something else that happens. It also creates confusion for new believers or people trying to rediscover their faith. That's one thing I've personally dealt with a lot. because I was like, oh, dude, I know when I was just like, you know what, I'm done with the church. I'm done with everything. I'm just going to distance myself. I'm going to be far, far, far away. And then I was like being convicted, and God was like, nah, dude, you need to come back. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I had, excuse me. And there was people that I would see, and it wasn't just, and so like I said at the top of the episode, it's more than just artists. Just some of the best examples that we have that everyone can kind of connect to and see are artists.
Okay.
There was, when I was on my way back and trying to come back to church, trying to like lock back into church, there were examples that I was continually seeing of people that were like, oh, I'm leading the church, I'm a deacon or whatever, and this dude's over here with like 3 different girlfriends cheating on his wife.
Right.
And I'm just like, and he was doing the classic, that, and it's terrible to say the classic thing, but if you've been in the church long enough, you'll see it when there are those Christian players that know the right words to say, and they'll say, be like, oh, God showed me a vision of us together, or God showed me this thing of, you know, you could be my wife, and I saw the Lord revealed to me that we're supposed to be together.
That's such a weird pickup line. That's a wild pickup line.
And it's I haven't seen it work.
And I'm pretty sure it's worked.
It's work.
Pretty sure it's worked.
It's a problem when you have someone of influence.
That's why I hate prophets.
What? So like fake prophets, I can't stand them.
Well, fake prophets too.
And it's just one of those things of just like, if you're in a position of influence, there shouldn't be. If you're in a position of influence, you got to be tighter with God.
Yeah. Well, do you not think they're tight with God?
I think.
Or do you think they're just not like humble enough?
No, but I think column A, column B. There's people of great power and influence that won't put in the work. So So here's what I mean.
That's like the great musician that never wants to play music.
Right. So you have.
Dude, what are you doing?
So you have
good at this.
Right. So you have those people that'll do all the work, and they'll put in all the work, and they'll get to that position, and they're above the maintenance of everything. Okay. Like doing the work. For example, the best way I can describe it, and the way I've understood it, was there was a story I remember hearing. I used to have a professor that was into competition shooting.
Oh, okay.
And he was just like, yeah, you know, there's different calibers and all that stuff. Right. Like professional shooting, like targets, like 50 yards or whatever. Okay, cool. He was telling me about, there was this precision shooter that he had many years in the game, and he was like, oh, this dude's the best. This dude's great. This dude's great. He's insane. He's insanely perfect. Right. And then so he's saying that he didn't admit it to like later on down the roads. It was like some local competition, whatever. That he would shoot, he would hit the target, get a good score. And then he would it looked like he was shooting through the same hole because you weren't seeing new holes being made. Yeah. So he would hit the target, and they're like, man, this dude is so good. He's shooting through the same hole. That's why you don't see any other bullets or any other holes made. Yeah. And he was saying that after the dude retired, he revealed that he would put 3 holes down the middle in close proximity, and he would just tilt his gun up and shoot over the target. Yeah. So everybody would think that he was hitting through the same holes because he was that good. Yeah. And that's where that comes in. And it's the same thing of just like, you don't do the work anymore. You don't do, so now you're cosplaying and just kind of being this, you know enough to say the right things to act like this person.
But that's wild to be able to do 3 shots in the same proximity. I feel like you can do 5.
Right. You can dump the whole mag.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. Like,
and that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like, you just don't want to do the work, A, because you're lazy, or B, because you know you can get away with it.
Lazy.
And there's been people I've met that God will use anybody to do great moves, whether or not you're ready for it, whether or not you're in the thing. It's like, he's like, I called you to do it, you're going to do it.
Not ready for it.
And he's like, I'm just going to do it. Like, I'm going to do it. Whether you're ready or not, I'm going to do it. Yep. God doesn't care about your vices. God doesn't care about where you're at. God doesn't care about how much money you got in the bank. God doesn't care about any of that.
And I think that will tie into the faith and obedience.
Faith and obedience, yeah.
Yeah.
And in all of this, I know I know off the top we spent like now 35 minutes just complaining about all the stuff. The important the important part of this is, no matter how, don't be distracted by the massive platforms. Don't be distracted by the glitz, the glamour. Don't be distracted by how big they got media teams, how many people they got doing production, because you can have media teams can make anybody look great.
Yeah.
I encourage people listening, or anybody, like, read word, get in with God, know what God's voice sounds like. So that way you can tell the difference between impersonations and the real thing.
Yeah, because, all right, so I guess I'll give you a little story.
Yeah.
So soon as I started, basically I'm reborn, right? Mm-hmm. And I started listening to worship music, which I used to hate, even though my dad played gospel. And gospel was good to a degree because it's R&B. So you got Kirk Franklin, and he's doing funk elements and stuff like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, funk. Yeah. So I can vibe with that. Worship music is totally different.
Right.
So I've been jamming out to that, and I've just been listening. And after a while, you're just like, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
And then you listen to the lyrics and stuff, and you're like, you it's kind of meaningful here, and it means more than what you think it does.
Right.
And then you think about the person behind it that makes the music, and you're like, well, what was that person thinking about? You know what I'm saying?
What were they going through?
Right.
Yeah.
So I go through all that, and then I hear like new pop music or something like that, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to hear this trash. This is trash.
It sounds synthetic.
Yeah,
it reminds me of that
unauthentic.
Day. Yeah, it reminds me of that day. Remember, I was messing around with Suno, and I was just like, let me write some generic.
Even though I told you not to.
Yeah, it's fun, and I wrote some generic. It is though. I wrote some generic.
Bless you.
Woo! Quick on the mute.
Should probably mark that anyway. Oh, you muted it?
Yeah. I was okay. Sneeze my brains out. But the whole thing was, I remember I was messing around with Suno, and I wrote some just like Christian lyrics, like, I love you, Lord, lead the way, something. Mm-hmm. And I put it into Suno, and it generated this gospel track. And I showed you, I was like, what you think? And you're just like, get this AI trash out of here.
Yeah.
And then you listen to it, you're like, oh, you know what? If someone actually played that,
yeah, it'd be good.
It would be good because you know what it's supposed to sound like. You know the real thing. Had I played that for an uneducated ear, then I'm like, oh, cool, whatever.
Maybe. But I feel like, too, if someone sings it live, then maybe the Holy Spirit will go through them, kind of thing.
The anointing.
And the anointing, yeah. And then it'll be something totally different. I'm mad you have that button, bro. Oh my gosh!
You expect me not to use it? You expect me not to use an air horn for when I say the anointing?
Man, that's crazy.
For the Lord, Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior.
We still need to get dudes. Jesus Christ!
Oh, dude, so. Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
we love you, God. But
he does music, right? He does
like
music.
1 of 6 tracks are kind of hit.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like he loves God.
He's got, man's is so sold out. He's got Jesus Christ tatted on his face.
That is
dedicated.
Blasphemous?
Is it?
Yeah, it should tattoo your body, bro. Like that. Or like that just at all. No, I have tattoos. I've been for this.
No, just,
like, yeah.
But like, it's just like I don't know. Well, I gotta ask somebody who knows more than I do about that.
Pretty sure you're not supposed to
tattoo Jesus Christ's name on your body. Jesus Christ.
I mean, it doesn't matter who it is.
Let who you know
tattoo your body.
Let who you know. Let them know who you belong to.
Just saying.
That's true.
Yeah, but Anyway,
the kind of to get back on track, just to kind of reiterate, make sure you're tight with God, please. I can't stress that enough. So that way you know who to listen to, and and again, like, we're still trying to figure it out. I still fall for it constantly. I still fall for it a lot. I still be like, yo, this is kind of cool, and then listen, like, I don't know how I feel about that.
So
you
just like
have to be prayed up,
just like the Grammys just happening. They're not like us.
Yeah.
Everyone heard that song. We heard it. You listened to it a million times. I got annoyed. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I was over that song. The first time I heard it, I was over. I was like, get this out of here. I don't want to hear it.
Cut it off.
Yeah, and then it just kept playing. You like, man, good.
Yeah, it's hard. What do you mean?
Yeah, I have zero time for that. Zero time for that.
I'm out here trying to listen to literally anything else.
Anything else.
I'm gonna put on Limp Bizkit real quick. Good?
No, not so much. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
But so the whole thing was, dang, I lost my place.
Lost your place.
Because I got like 7 messages about dumb stuff.
So let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
What do you think about Beyonce winning Best Country Album?
Did you see her reaction?
First of all, she knows she was going to win. That was annoying. She does all the witchcraft. And then 2, it was probably 3.
Yeah.
She pivoted to country music anyway because she would just kept losing.
Yeah, the charts.
And they are technically, country music is technically the last genre that stills by like
physical units.
Physical units, yeah.
What is it? Who was talking about it? I think it was. Sounds terrible, but I think it was Cardi B. She was pointing out. She was. So it's funny because someone like Cardi B understands the industry very well.
She should. She's in it.
Yeah, and so she made the point of, she's like, country music was one of the last few genres that had generations of people still buying physical units.
Why do you think so many people switched?
Because they don't sell CDs anymore. I was working at Best Buy when they phased out CDs. And
I was there too.
And I remember because...
But that's a weird thing that's coming back as well.
Yes.
Hence my buddy did his record store and
right.
CDs. Like, but people want
physical
tangible
units.
Things, yeah.
Yeah, and it's that right to own and right to repair and all that. It kind of falls into the same kind of idea of... But I think because it's coming back in a niche format, and I don't think it's going to be as successful as it was before.
I think it'd be more.
I think so. I hope so, because I love physical units.
Like, even my boy, he bought that album, the Kendrick album, GNX, on record.
On vinyl, yeah.
On vinyl.
So it's funny because where we're at, we have the biggest distributor of vinyl pressing.
Yeah, and we can do this and just get it stamped there.
I'm down.
I'm not, but it's okay.
I want at least like
a vinyl record.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, look at this.
Hey, that's me, cuz. don't say near it because it get too hot and it'll melt. Because wax. Anyway, but the whole thing is, what she was saying was there's that whole fan base that still was diehard physical, physical copies and physical places stuff. And
country music listeners are older listeners,
right? And so she made the point.
There's no older hip hop listeners.
Not anymore.
No, right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
or
not like country.
R&B.
Yeah, not like country.
Some R&B, but
like it was the same thing for like classic metal too. They have a big physical unit market, but not like country. And so what she was saying was, all those people who can't purchase physical media anymore are now getting into streaming platforms because that's the only place.
Right.
So like YouTube Music, Spotify, those are probably the bigger ones.
Yeah.
And so she's like, of course it would make sense because now that everything's digital on these platforms, that's the only way you can consume this music.
True. So
she would pivot as a marketing thing because that's where the money's coming from.
Yeah, straight marketing.
And then to parallel to compare it to what's happening with these cosplay Christians is, I know for a fact that places like...
She also grew up in church.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I know for a fact that when you go to like NAMM show and these bigger shows that market toward like audio interfaces, instruments, and like NAMM. For those who don't know what NAMM show is, NAMM is...
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
You know what NAMM is?
No.
Think of like CES, but like for music. Or think of like Knowledge Fest for music. So everybody sells, like all the major manufacturers, like
they're trying to sell audio equipment.
Yeah, so they'll drop the newest
Pro Tools or something like that.
Well, yeah, so like Pro Tools will show up. They'll show off all their new interfaces. M Audio at the time, Zoom would show up all their new interfaces. Presonus, all the big names.
Anything, sure.
Literally anything audio related. So that's audio, lights, instruments, all that together. So speakers. So like when I didn't go to NAMM show, but a lot of my homies have gone to NAMM, and they'll go like every year.
The next one.
I'm looking at 2025. It's somewhere in 2025. But NAMM is the biggest show where the newest audio and visual and a lot of the biggest brands will show up and show off their new technology, new developments.
NAMM show, believe in music.
Yeah, it's mainly geared towards music, but the biggest people that they market to, the biggest groups that they market to,
2026
are churches.
Yeah, I'm looking at the photos now. It makes sense because
it's all
technically a live event. Yeah,
it's a live event, and it's a live event to show off new lights and new fog machines and new all this stuff.
Yeah. So
and the whole thing is like it's a bankable event. It's bankable because churches are the only ones. Like, it's funny because a lot of people in church think, oh, it's the clubs buying up all the lights. Nah, fam. Church. So you have church 2 times a week, most of the time 2 times a week, right? You will have a major festival maybe quarterly. If you work at a casino that has live music, that'll probably happen quarterly, once every 2 weeks. You don't have that constant stream of income like churches do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have people tithing and bringing in money twice a week, that money, that constant stream of money, even if it's little money, it's going to beat out what you would make at like a South by Southwest or like a Rolling Loud. Because Rolling Loud, you spend like 4 or 5 months preparing for the show that you're only going to have one 3-night event for, versus having that level event like 2 times a week, 2 to 4 times a week, depending on if you have multiple services or if you have multiple congregations or if you have multiple campuses happening at the same time. That's why these churches are going to forever push technology, live stream technology. Now you get into live streaming and podcasting, so a lot of these guys will pull up and show off a lot of this new technology for that.
Mm-hmm.
So then you now have these brands that will be like, oh yeah, sure, microphones, check out what you can do for your church. And then people will be like, oh, they're talking about churches in their branding. They're talking about churches in their promotional material. Oh, these brands must be Christian. Nah.
So how do you feel about the Christian hip hop artists that went to Rolling Loud?
I'm cool with it.
In the past.
Yeah, I'm cool. No Big Deal went, I think, this last Rolling Loud. I'm cool with it because if you they were
No Big Deal, Alex Jean, Caleb Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think No Big Deal was literally
Gavi and John Keith.
Gavi went.
Yeah, Gavi. Sorry,
Gavi. We gotta talk about Gavi.
No, okay.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about Gavi.
No,
Gavi's one of those you're just like, I hope he changed. I hope he changed up. Basically, to surmise, Gavi got a little messy because he was pressing some. I gotta get the details right because I don't want to speak out of turn. But essentially, he was married and he was propositioning girls for like pictures and stuff, just super messy.
And he was propositioning girls for pictures, like Chris Brown, like Chris Breezy does at the end of his show.
It was like, yo, give me them pictures. Let me see that booty cheeks.
Oh, that's a little.
But it was like other.
It's a little different.
Yeah, no, yeah. You're thinking of like
a little different. Like, hey, you need to pay me.
Yeah, no. He was just like propositioning in the sense of just like, oh, like he was having inappropriate conversations with other female artists that he was working with. And at one point, he got super canceled. His catalogs got super damaged and taken down. People stopped working with him.
So, all right. So, like, I saw a clip, not a clip, but I saw something about that. They were dealing with pastors that faulted and they fell. And they're like, they went through everything, right?
Yeah.
How do they come back, and do you respect them when they come back after they did like the dirtiest of dirt?
Yeah.
Because like, or you can be like that guy, you be like, I don't forgive you, but God can forgive you. You know what I'm saying?
So
you could do that.
I think it's not a hard balance, because you just go by.
Do you still follow the church? You know what I'm saying? Do you still believe in the church? Because that person is at the head of the church. You know,
that's a hard question. That's a super hard question. I don't necessarily think I have the correct answer. My answer would be, best way I can put it is, my pastor used to say it all the time: judge me by my fruit and not by my suit.
Mm.
So it's hard, because you can have great moves and great ministry opportunities, and people's lives can be changed, and you can still be a messy person.
Yeah.
Best way I can answer that is ask God.
Oh, me as a follower of the
you
church?
As a follower need to ask God, because here's what'll happen, and it'll
a good answer.
Well, so here's the thing, because I'm gonna talk about it. You need to ask God, because, for example, when I had issues that led to my church hurt, is because I didn't pray about it.
Yeah.
What I didn't pray about it was, I still had underlying issues that whatever these people did, I took extra offense, because those were sensitive points for me that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I would try to resubmit to that ministry or resubmit to those people, I was always reminded about where they messed up, so I couldn't fully trust.
Yeah.
And so I needed to pray about it and do the work.
Well, that's where we get into faith and obedience.
Yeah.
So where you just got to believe in God.
So you have to have faith that you're in the right place for position.
True.
But, and we'll talk about it when we get there, because
take care of it.
To kind of wrap up that caveat is, you need to pray about it and see what God says about it.
Yeah.
Because God will it's in the Bible. God's no respecter of persons. It doesn't matter how much time or how much effort or how much love or how many people you love in that church. If God says you need to dip, you need to dip all the way out.
True.
Because God, then just kind of like I was counseled when I was, I sought counseling after I had my issues with church. And a very powerful man of God told me, he was like, remember what God said in the simplest way of, vengeance is mine. God's going to deal with it. And if it was a leader that did it, they're held to a higher standard.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's straight biblical, son. Like there's no way around it. So I can't tell you need to straight up fight these fools because they did wrong stuff. It's not your battle.
Yeah.
But you need to make moves to protect yourself.
So on top of that, can I play a clip real quick?
Yeah.
So I want you to hear this, and then we can discuss it, and then we can move on to the next thing. So is the volume up on that?
I think that Satan's grip on music, it's not just genres that are not necessarily Christian or gospel. I think they all bottleneck into Satan.
That tracks.
And I think that the gatekeepers in one are the same as the gatekeepers in another. There are certain rituals you have to do if you want to get to the top of the industry. I used to ask God, Lord, how come? Because I love the sound of R&B. You know, I know that the lyrics definitely don't honor God, but one of my struggles was I can create that music on a high level. Like, I love it. If I get in the room and I get my gear, I can create stuff that the world would like, right? So I used to ask God, how come I can't take this and make this glorify you? How come I can't take that sound and make it glorify you? Which a lot of guys do. They take R&B and they'll put gospel lyrics on top of it.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
Just
instead of saying
gospel.
Jesus,
and the Lord spoke to me and said, whenever the Spirit of God is made manifest in a room, the sound that is produced is not that. David would make sense.
First of all,
how you feel about that?
My main gripe with that clip is that Fruity Loops ass track that got in the background.
Oh my God, are you worried about that?
Wham.
Make it deep sounding.
Stock sounds, dude. Anyway, no. Yeah. I'll agree with that because
put in reference here that you don't know. This guy was a music producer for Diddy.
Word.
He went out to Vegas, something like that, and with Diddy, and he's just like, I need to leave. So he leaves, goes to Houston, runs into like Beyonce's like people because they're all linked together.
Yeah.
And then he got fed a bunch of edibles and almost died, something like that. I don't know. And he's just like, oh, okay, I need to change my life around. So now he is a musician for this church, and he was just like kind of giving his testimony about it. Yeah. So I just thought that was wild.
The thing I've known about that, because I've talked to a lot of musicians that will,
but I feel the same way.
My thing with that is understand that music here on earth is understand who Lucifer was.
True.
You know, like he was, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was the music guy.
Yeah, he was head of the music. Yeah,
he was a music guy, dude. Like, of course, an industry that's inherently Luciferian isn't going to glorify God, or they're not going to let you glorify God. So you're not going to hit. You can reference it because it's bankable, but that's where the whole intentionality comes in. Just like, it's like, for example, The Weeknd had crossed imagery in Starboy.
Well, he had the opposite of cross imagery.
Well, he had crosses in him, and it's just
but it was
right. There were upside down crosses, and it's like, why is that still polarizing? Like, you figure, as far as we've gotten in the world, you're like, oh, you still using upside down crosses? Wild, you know. And that's how I feel about it. But it's because it's inherently, we know who that whole industry is controlled by. Top to bottom, off rip, we know who it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is where.
So, side note. Well, I just kind of want to pause it.
Yeah.
Is Starboy a good track?
Yeah. Daft Punk made
track. It was a great track.
Because Daft Punk made it.
It's a great track. And The Weeknd has one of the greatest voices ever.
That's true.
Yeah, he's using it for their own team.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right,
going to that, I don't think that he would hit the same levels if he got saved. As a matter of fact, I know he wouldn't hit the same levels and reach another
stardom.
Yeah.
No.
Like, he would have to get all that money, save it, be like, deuces.
Have you watched Idol?
Lord? Huh?
Have you watched Idol?
Yeah.
The HBO show.
Yeah.
Acting in it.
I've seen clips.
So it has to do. It's Johnny Depp's daughter. She's like a singer, and then he's like
So the only clip I saw is him like in a do-rag, and he just like punches somebody, and that's it.
Yeah, but it has to do with the music industry to a degree.
Yeah,
but they're like spot on like how it is, which is kind of weird. And it's like, what? Also, are you guys spilling the beans? Or you're not spilling the beans? Like, what's going on
it's
here?
art.
Yeah, it's like, we need to tell you everything, and also be all about that.
So we need to tell you everything. Also, it's art, so don't take it seriously.
Yeah, but it's also true. You're like, what? What's going on here? So
same thing. We just changed the name.
Yeah, but I mean, the show got bad reviews because it sucked. But just The Weeknd, he's just not a good actor. But it was just anyway. It was just crazy. But continue when you say. Sorry.
The whole thing. No. But it all ties together because it truthfully it's that whole thing of like, people will get into it and they're just like, oh, it's just music. Oh, why does it matter? Oh, why does it matter? Like, if who cares if Beyonce worships whatever she wants to worship? I'm gonna jam because Beyonce's got dope tracks or whatever.
Yeah.
It's important because that music shapes culture, and culture's learned, right?
Yeah.
And because culture is
generationally.
Right. Culture's learned generationally, and people will reference their culture when they're lost and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So if you make a mockery and make that Christian aesthetic fake, and it's fake in the culture,
Right.
Then, like I said at the top of the podcast, Doechii speaking tongues in her Tiny Desk concert where she talks about like being hooked on drugs in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's not a Christian track. It's not leading anybody to Christ.
So my thing is too, is like, what's up with all these pop artists, R&B artists that like try to defile Christianity in their music videos?
It's shock value.
Compared to any other like religion. Yeah. It's always Christianity.
Western, well, so then that's where we get back to it. Western culture is very Christian. And
it was, yeah. It still is. It still is.
America,
the Bible Belt.
Yeah. So you have, so for example, it's for the same reason why people to be edgy defile Christian imagery is for the same reason why crooked politicians swear on Bibles and reinforce Christian morals as part of their platform.
Well, I think that's a legality thing.
It's to a degree,
more so than just defying Christianity.
Well, so yeah, I think it's that thing of
because
just like
you're, I forget his name, Rick, whatever, the artist, that the clothing artist, I forget his name.
I don't remember his name.
I forget his name, Rick something. But look him up. His wife is straight like, oh, you're a demon. Like you're a straight demon. You're a demon witch. You're scary, and no one should talk to you ever in this whole establishment. And then I'm like, yo, and people are like, oh my God, that's like Rick's wife. Like, what? And like, why are we talking to her? Like, have you never seen?
No, I'm gonna look it up.
Oh no, so I gotta look. I forget this.
While you look that up,
Rick,
I did want to say I did want that biblical. I have a biblical tie-in for that. Like the whole idea is like, is it just art or is it just deception? Because people are like, oh, what does it matter? Whatever, they're just doing whatever. It's all fake. Whatever. No, it's I want to point out 2 Timothy 3:5.
Rick Owens. Okay, I'm ready for it.
Well,
2
Timothy 3:5. Having a form of godliness but denying its power, have nothing to do with such people.
Repeat that.
Having a form of godliness but denying its power, have nothing to do with such people.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Meaning, because the way I interpreted it was, because you have Christ-like tendencies, because you have Christ-like words, because you have Christ-like presentation, doesn't mean you are of Christ. Doesn't mean you're not following it. Just because you look the part doesn't mean you actually are of the part.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I took it, of the whole thing of having a form of godliness doesn't mean you are of those people. Just because you pray before you eat or you say grace doesn't mean you're a follower of Christ. Just because, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying to get at. Just because you wear a Jesus piece on stage doesn't take away from the fact that your whole album is about all kind of crazy stuff. So just because you have a form of godliness doesn't mean you are of you have nothing to do with those such people. And that's how I kind of interpreted that, because it's in the Bible. Just because you talk the talk doesn't mean you walk the walk. Not to quote my dad, but that's the whole thing. Like, just because you talk about it doesn't mean you are in fact about it. You just say all the right stuff, but it's totally, totally fake. And that's where the problem is at, because a lot of people can't tell the difference.
So like I have because you said that,
but it's the whole thing of verse. Like, oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry. The point I was trying to make too is just like,
no, but it's just to piggyback on what you're saying. So Ephesians 5:6, let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of these things the wrath of God is coming upon the sons of disobedience.
Yeah.
So
it's the question of like what's performative,
right?
At what point the question is, at what point does Christianity become performative or transformative?
Mm-hmm.
And the main important thing, for at least for me, and the question I keep trying to ask God, and the question I keep praying about is, not the question, but the thing I keep asking is, God, help me tell the difference, because I know who you are. I know who you are in my life, and help me decipher what's reference and what's true.
Yeah. So I think once you get to a certain area in your life where prayer is everything, and you get to a certain point where you can discern a lot of things just because you pray all the time and you have a relationship with God, that certain songs is just not going to
click.
It's not going to click. It's not going to come to you like that. But also it'll hit you in a disgusting way. You're like, why you got beef with your baby daddy, you weirdo? You know what I'm saying?
And you know what's funny? I've heard. I can't remember any tracks specifically, but you can always tell who wrote this song, and they just want to talk about what they're feeling and get their feelings out rather than glorify God.
Yeah.
It's like, I've heard you complain in this whole lyrics like, God did, or I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, but where's the Christ in it all?
Right.
Like, I consider an auntie in my faith, but Tanaya TT, Pastor TT, she used to tell me, or she used to say, she's like, I glorify the Lord with everything I listen to. And I'm like, oh, that's a Lecrae reference. But she's like, because she was ranting about music one time, and she's like, I listen to glorify with everything I listen to, because if Pac could say he was going to shoot somebody every other bar, why can't rappers say they love Jesus every other bar?
It's facts.
And I was just like, oh, yeah. You could tell Pastor TT's an OG, because she's like, why can't Pac? I was like, man,
no.
Pac been dead for a minute now.
That's facts.
Love you, Pastor TT. She's gonna, you had to put me out there like that. She's gonna yell at me, call me, yell at me. But that's the whole thing of just like performative versus transformative, and us as people, us as Christians trying to figure it out. We have to be tight enough with God to figure out what the difference is between both of them.
So, can you look up Rick Owens' wife, and then we'll bring this in for a landing? I want to see what you see.
Hold on. I'm not even typing it.
Yeah, Rick Owens.
Am I going to have to delete this from my recent history?
Oh, you might have to. You're like, oh yeah, she's got a photo of Usher.
See, wife. Images. What the hell?
Yeah. Hey, show me that you do witchcraft without showing me you do witchcraft. Come on. It's all good. Tell me.
I'm not one to judge a book by its cover, but if it looks like the Darkhold from Marvel,
it's called a demon. It's crazy, right?
Not to be super cynical, but Rick Owens looks better than she do, dude.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Yeah. So they'll have shows, and she's straight up doing rituals and stuff. Like it's wild.
She's been warped.
But man, like when you tie into the music industry is always tied into fashion.
Yeah.
And obviously all his stuff is black. He doesn't have any colors in his aesthetic at all. Okay, maybe
I wear a lot of black, yeah.
But I mean, Rick Owens is Rick Owens. But the fashion and music is always tied together for some reason.
No, it is, and I would have to pray about it and do more research, because I know it strikes me as very Luciferian, because they kind of go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
as I start to pray more, and as I start to investigate more, and as I try to understand everything for what it is, it's and one day I'll find the thing, but these Luciferian complexes kind of go hand in hand, because it's very braggadocious in nature. So it's very self-centered. It's very performative. It's very there's a lot of exhibitionist tendencies. So it's a lot about self worship and self praise and self gratification. So that's why a lot of the stuff goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Dang, dude, that lady's wild. I'm gonna delete that. Factory resetting my iPad, cuz.
You about to burn my computer, cuz.
Yeah, dude. I got Apple Care, not Lord.
Yeah. So, but
Care on my iPad.
I would say mark that so we can throw a photo of her up in there.
Yeah, I don't want to Google any of that again.
Why not Google it? I mean, she's up here. I'll put it in the notes.
don't do the Google Drive like that, bro.
Corrupt. Anyway.
But no, to try to wrap it up, to come in for a landing, like I was saying, learn to recognize and like we've mentioned before, get close to God, because when you're closer to God, you'll understand His voice. When you understand His voice, you're more sensitive to the Spirit. When you're more sensitive to the Spirit, you will figure out what is performative and what is transformative. And this is why there's a lot of times. So there's a big conflict that I used to have that I didn't understand until I got older. Mm-hmm. In churches, there's OGs that look like they zone out, and I never understood that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, because you see it all the time in churches. There's some OGs that'll come, they'll worship, and they'll do all this stuff, and they'll get what they want.
You got the Bible in the hand. They're like, you're not even reading the Bible. What are you doing?
Right. And so I always thought it was performative until a church mama told me one time, she's like, they're saying the same 40 sermons. So she's like, I just listen to them over and over again to try to figure and get my favorite pieces out of it.
What does that mean?
So at a certain point, when you spend long enough with God, when you spend enough time with God and you spend enough time in the Word, there's only one word.
Yeah.
You can hear everything time and again. So at a certain point, everything will get preached.
True.
What I took from that is she told me, because she said, I've heard every sermon preached 11 million different ways, but it's always the same thing. But she's like, I listen to it. It's always the same. Like she said, 40 sermons. She's like, it's always the same sermons.
Yeah, I can see that.
But she's like, I listen to it to get the pieces I want out of it and the stuff that hits me different. So what she was saying, and I took it as, once you get to a certain point, you don't have to rely on the church, or you don't have to rely on somebody else trying to tell you explicitly what to do and what God's got for you. Because once you hear it enough, and once you learn how to find it for yourself,
you just know it.
You'll learn how to pick. Like when God says, "My secrets are hidden in the Word."
Yeah.
Once you get over the initial brunt of trying to read all the Word at once, it's not a quantity thing; it's a sifting thing.
Yeah.
So you can hear and listen to those things, and you'll know the secrets of God in between the Word.
That goes back to faith and obedience too, because then you understand who God is.
You know
what I'm saying?
And that's the point that I want to get across is, do the work, spend time with God, pray with God, read, so that way you'll get the truth, and you'll get those moments, and you'll get those true things out of, so you won't fall for the tricks of performative Christianity. So you won't fall for the cosplays. You'll understand that it's actually cosplay.
Yeah.
You'll be like, yo, that's a cool preacher costume.
It'd be
Good
like
job, dude.
That meme of you be Bernie Mac and he's just slapping everybody. Get that out of here.
It's more of like the meme of it's like, I want Jesus Christ. We got Jesus Christ at home, and it's just like the great value version of stuff. I gotta find out. I'll send it to you. Oh, it was like, we got Jesus Christ at home, and it's that picture of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi framed.
You would say some nerd stuff.
Yeah. So I wanna wrap up with
what you got
with this. One of the questions I ask myself quite often, and I try to keep in the back of my head, is, does the lifestyle match the lyrics, or is it just all branding? So when I'm like listening to stuff, and that's the thing, like, I'm not saying don't listen to whatever, like, listen to what you want, but don't let it influence you.
Don't listen to Beyonce though.
Don't listen to Beyonce.
She does witchcraft.
Yeah, a lot of people
openly. It's crazy.
So to kind of echo that sentiment, next time you hear a song talking about God, ask yourself, is this real faith or is it just a vibe? Start thinking critically about the media that we consume, because it's not just music.
Is it real faith or just a vibe?
Mm-hmm. Is it real faith or is it just a vibe?
It's a good question.
Yeah. Is it real faith or just a vibe? So I
like
want to invite anybody listening to this. What do you think? Have you noticed Christian cosplay in music or in media, not just music? Shows do the same thing too. Like Gemstones. I need to watch that. That's so good. Have you noticed Christian cosplay in music? Make sure you drop a comment at the bottom of this video. DM us. We want to talk about it. We want to keep this as an open conversation.
Yep.
And we just want to hear your thoughts. And then just to kind of remember, at the end of the day, God sees the heart, and with God sees your heart. We're not here to judge. Just ask the hard question: is this performative or transformative? See it for what it is. Any closing thoughts?
No, that's it. I'm good.
Cool. We will catch you in the next one. This has been another episode of the Spiritual Bros Podcast. Peace.
Peace.
I keep my respect like it's an ID. My team got my back like they behind me. My team got my back like they behind me. They say, oh, he back, but I didn't